I had been interning at one of the news stations here in Toronto, and I had just finished my master's in journalism, and I was awful. I was a terrible intern. I was quiet as a mouse. I walked into this newsroom, I felt completely mediocre, because you know, you're in J school and it's all theory, and then you get into the real world and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a newsroom right now. I felt like I couldn't cope, I felt like I wasn't important, I felt like I was getting in the way, and it was one of those internships where they didn't have a lot for me to do. I was more a bother than anything else. And in those situations, really what I should have done is rise to the occasion and volunteer to do this, that, and the other thing, or found some kind of a niche where I could really make a difference. But all I did was shrink even more. And so, you know, this month went by of my internship, and I remember I got the nerve one day to go into the local newsroom because I wanted to be a reporter. And I went up to one of the reporters that I knew and I said, hey, can I come and shadow you for a day? And she was a little iffy about it, but she said, talk to my news director, sort of to throw me off. And I talked to the news director and he said, sure, go meet her tomorrow. This is where she's gonna be and you can shadow her for the day. And I shadowed her for the day. And I was really quiet. So it was the camera guy, it was the reporter, and then it was me, like the third wheel. So they were talking off-color jokes, having some fun, doing what news people do. They went out for lunch in Chinatown. I was an intern making $0 an hour. So I brought my lunch every day. They thought that was a drag. So I'm sitting there eating my own homemade lunch at a Chinese restaurant saying not a word. Obviously, this was a really good time for them, right? At the end of the day, I said, okay, well, I'll meet you tomorrow. And she said, no. You're not meeting me tomorrow. We're not doing this again. Today was enough. That's cool. And I was like, hurt, broken. Yeah, and I just felt so embarrassed. I told my parents, this is so exciting. I'm going to be shadowing this reporter. We all knew this reporter. And I didn't even want to tell my parents that I wasn't going to be going the next day to shadow her. So I called my girlfriend, Sandy. And I'm getting to the point here. Sandy said, come on over, don't tell your parents, come to my house, we'll hang out. It's summer. I went to her house and she said, well, what's the problem? And I said, well, I'm not saying anything, I'm not talking, I'm not making an impression, I'm embarrassed, I feel mediocre, I feel less than. And she said, if you don't know stuff, why are you not asking questions? And I said, I'm not asking questions because I do not want to appear to be dumb. And she said, do not worry about looking stupid. She said, because in fact, you are stupid right now. You don't know anything, and you're not supposed to know anything. You're in a newsroom. You've never worked in one before. You've never been a reporter on a story. You wouldn't know what's happening. You have to ask a billion questions to understand what's going on. And it was a light bulb moment for me. You know, she said, don't be afraid to have people underestimate you, and don't be afraid to have people not know that you don't have all the answers, because you don't. And ever since she gave me that advice, I have used that.